favor of the bond election. Just by way of explanation, the city currently is not utilizing its full allotment of CAP water in the eastern part of our city. We're literally letting it just go down the drain or go down the Colorado River and not taking full advantage of that. And the reason for that is we don't have the physical capacity to take that water and make it potable and use it for the city's fast-growing neighborhoods in the far southeast valley, far southeast portion of Mesa. That's where the city we really need to step up, spend the bond money necessary to build that water treatment plant. Anytime you build a water treatment plant, there's a corresponding need to increase the wastewater. So those two are hand in hand. So I am in favor of passing those bonds. I think it's critical to see that part of our town continue to progress and to continue to have an attractive situation where we can bring in companies like Apple and others to a part of our town that's ripe for growth, except for the fact that we're behind in terms of getting our utilities there. So I support the bonds. You have to pay for the bonds. And the way you pay for the bonds, unfortunately, is to occasionally make increases in the utility rates that we charge. I think but in my prior city council service, I took very serious every time we were confronted with the issue of whether or not we ought to raise utility rates. And I am loath to do that because I think it has a particularly burdensome effect on the poorest of the people in our community. Those are essential services, and we need to be very sensitive to the fact that we need to help and not price that essential service in such a way that poor people can't afford it. So with sensitivity to that, I do think it's appropriate to increase the utility rates in order to pay for the bonds, which are essential for Mesa to continue to grow and to provide the essential services that we need in our community.
I think we need to do whatever we can to keep the utility rates as low as possible because that does affect families. And anytime it affects a family, we need to take a step back and say, should we really be doing this when it affects them at that level? As for the bond, I think we can have positive growth without massive debt. I think we need to maybe do a little bit more research and planning as to why are we passing all these bonds. You know, we passed, it was like 130 million last year. Now we're having, I've heard 190 million. Did we not know that we had this water problem coming up? It's something we need to think about before we just keep going back to the well to get more water. We need to plan for these utilities because it's not something we didn't know about. We knew it needed to happen. We could ask ourselves, why haven't we been socking some money away for this day? And so I think it's really important that we don't just keep passing bonds, and we need to focus on what the role of government is. The infrastructure, which is important, the water treatment plant, but we need to do it in a way that it's not binding us with debt if possible.